Well, today on Houston Life, it's Wine Club Wednesday. Did you know canned wine sales are up 300% since 2017? We're exploring this trend and tasting some great options with a local sommelier.
Looking forward to that. Plus, from snack boxes to mason jar meals, easy and healthy recipes you can try at home. Perfect for back to school or just anytime. Houston Life starts right now. Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Houston Life on this Wednesday, August 5th. So glad to have you with us today. I'm Derrick Shore.
And I'm Courtney Savala. How you doing?
Doing well. Tried something new at the top of today's show.
You know, we like to mix things up here.
We do. And I'm so excited. We just had a special delivery. Kat, our producer, just plopped these down on set. And Courtney, I think you know something about this.
Well, first of all, I love the name, Porch Pounder. It's like a company that I founded, if only I did. But we are exploring, as you heard in our open there, we are exploring this trend. Oh, this has bubbles in it, of canned wine.
Oh, cool. It's like champagne or sparkling wine,
Sparkling. Huh? And I will tell you, I'm a fan of canned wine. I like it because Orlando's, he likes to drink a little bourbon. I don't want that. So when he has his little cocktail, I'm like, you know what? I don't have to worry about opening up a bottle, have a little can.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Everybody's happy. But I will tell you, over the years, these winemakers have really figured out that this trend is not going anywhere.
No, it's convenient, too.
Millennials are a big portion of the people that buy this. They're not spending $70, $80, $150 on a bottle of wine, but they want a good wine in a can. And so the sales are booming, but these winemakers have figured out and figured out how to produce wine in a can, how to make it taste better. It's really evolved over the last couple of years.
Well, and you can chill it quickly. There are so many reasons why drinking wine out of a can just makes total sense to me. And then you're not opening an entire bottle that you feel like you need to sit and drink.
Exactly.
All in one sitting.
With your cereal.
But we have mentioned your cereal as a bedtime snack, not for breakfast, okay? But one thing here at Houston Life, in case you haven't figured out yet, we're not snobs, right? And oftentimes we sort of make light of people who are like, I couldn't possibly drink that wine unless it's from a chateau. And no, you can drink wine out of a box or out of a can or the screw top. Do you remember when screw tops first came out? And people were like, oh, how could you not have a cork in your wine, right? But Sean Beck, who's coming on the show today, sommelier, he's going to tell you that all of that is hooey. Yeah. You drink what you love, no matter whether it's in a can or a box or a glass bottle.
Absolutely. And what's so great about this, too, for the winemakers, you know, they have figured out, shipping the cans of wine versus shipping bottles of wine, the shipping is way less. And these are all recyclable, and so it just is making sense for them business-wise. They're seeing, at a time when really sales for wine is kind of declining for these larger, more expensive bottles of wine.
Oh, interesting.
And, but this portion of the wine market is exploding.
Maybe we should start a little side business.
Can we do that?
We can do whatever we want. We're adults.
Can we wine make? Did you taste yours, by the way?
I did.
What's so great is you have a red wine. Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it.
It's interesting because typically when the wine in a can came out, it was either sparkling or rosé or a white. But now red is becoming more popular because they're figuring out how to make it in a can.
Well, the first wine I ever had in a can was a Sofia Coppola. Maybe you guys have had this. It comes in a dark pink
can. And it's little.
It's very cylindrical, sort of a straight, top and bottom. But it comes with this little straw that you pull apart. And that debuted years ago. So it's nice to see that there are more options on the market. And we're going to break it all down a little later on in today's show. In the meantime, though, we have a list of these wine rules, though. And you know how we feel about rules here, right? A viewer wrote to me a while back and was very concerned about the way I was holding my wine glass.
No way. How come I've never heard this story?
I thought I told you this. He was very concerned that when I picked up my wine glass, my fingers were touching the bowl and not just holding the stem, because the theory is that if you're holding the wine glass, your fingers are warming the wine, therefore destroying the taste.
And you were like, look, I'm drinking Cooks. It doesn't really matter.
But you know that... Hey, now, some people love that stuff.
I know, I'm just saying.
If you're in a bind at the gas station, Cooks will hit the spot.
It will. But listen, you do you. You know what I'm saying? Are you kidding me?
Well, what if I like to drink warmer wine? Or what if my hands are ice cold like my heart?
And so then
it's chilling the wine. Hello, sir. I'm actually chilling my wine. But we had Max Riedel on the show.
Yep.
You guys know Riedel glassware, right? I mean, stemware. It's
fantastic.
Really good stuff. It's expensive.
But not all of it is.
Not all of it. They have really
a great quality
and
lines.
some of the best, most inexpensive in their line, they're the stemless wine glasses.
Right. And it's the crystal that sings. You know, most crystal sings, but it's a beautiful...
Oh, I know. You clink those together.
Remember those days where you would actually clink a glass?
I
have
know.
A real toast?
Brandon and I will still clink a glass here.
Yeah, Orlando and I, yeah.
Or the bottles, when we're clinking our bottles together, straight from the bottle. It's very efficient. No mess, no cleanup. But
straight into the recycle.
When Mr. Riedel himself, right? I mean, the CEO of Riedel Glassware was right here on Houston Life. We were over there in the kitchen.
Yep.
You were off that day.
I was,
we missed you.
But I loved it. I watched the segment.
But stemless wine glasses are now a thing. And they're also really functional because if you accidentally swat your wine glass or if the dog's tail swats the wine glass, it'll tip over and pop back up. Like one of those toys with the weighted, you know? So anyway, I'm sorry that I offended that viewer by having my cold little fingers touch my glass of wine, but...
Isn't that funny? People pick up on the strangest things.
But there are some rules.
This is the rules, and that man who probably did the survey, he said the #1 mistake people make is holding the glass by the bulb and not the stem. That's the #1 mistake. So that gentleman maybe did the survey.
But again, what if you're holding a stemless wine glass and there is no stem?
You know what I'm saying?
So you have to hold it by the bulb.
Are these like the etiquette rules? Is that what this is? You know? Okay, #2 is damaging the cork when you try to remove it. You know what? Here's the thing. I have to have either the corkscrew that is mechanical, like I have a rechargeable one that you just put the thing on and it...
Well, that's electronic.
Electronic. Yeah, sorry, electronic. And not the
mechanical,
fancy.
it's just the manual.
But mechanical one is the one I like too. I cannot use the one that they have on airplanes, you know, or in the restaurants, where you actually, there's no guide. Do we have one here?
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
Not the
It's
one with
just
the
the corkscrew. And it doesn't even have the little circle that goes down in.
Yeah. Do you know how many times I had to push the cork in because it has broken off or I went the wrong, you know?
Well, or sometimes you get a bad cork that's rotten and then it just crumbles and falls into your wine.
Sometimes bad corks happen to good people.
I know. Sometimes bad corks happen to bad people, too.
Yeah, that's karma is what that is.
That is karma.
Mispronouncing the name of the wine ordering.
This one bugs. Okay, so true story. I'm not naming any names, but I love when people are like, I'll take some Veuve Clicquot, please. And I'm like, okay, first of all, get rid of the accent. Secondly, put your pinky down. And thirdly, it's not Veuve Clicquot, it's Veuve. Rhymes with love.
Yes.
So if you're that much of a wine snob, at least pronounce Veuve Clicquot correctly. And you taught me this.
And then I've got one.
And you learned from an expert.
I did learn from an expert.
Courtney
person that trained.
knows.
Yes.
She went straight to the source.
I did. I was like, first of all, before we even begin the tasting, how do we pronounce this? You know,
Veuve like love.
Yes, and same thing with
Moet.
Moet. It's not Moet. No way, Moet. Because it has an umlaut.
And it's
a thing.
Helps to wet your palate. Moet.
Yes. So 2 things. The Merlot wine. You ever have a Merlot?
A Merlot.
Merlot. I had that.
Merlot.
And then remember a good Chablis? Chablis. Remember I worked at a restaurant, you know, in college. I worked at Pizzeria Uno, and there was a lot of Chablis being ordered.
Chablis. Did anyone ever pronounce it that way?
Yeah.
No.
No, I'm telling you, that's how they would. Some people would order it. That's what I'm telling you. I've actually had people order it like that. And you know what? Here's the thing. If you don't know, then you don't know.
Yes, that's
right?
okay.
But it's okay to ask, too.
But I feel like if it's a more expensive bottle, like a Veuve Clicquot, then there's even maybe more reason to pronounce it the way the vineyard pronounces it.
Right.
Or the winemaker. So remember when that woman was arrested in the Walmart parking lot and she was...
on a scooter? That was the best day at work
She was riding around on a scooter drinking wine out of a was it a paper cup cat? What was she? Out of a Pringles can. That is a good disguise. First of all, she is very creative to come up with that scenario. But when we were on the show that day and we did a little satirical recreation, we were riding around on scooters. I think we offended a lot of people by doing that. We were just having a little fun, making light of the fact that there was this kind of unusual story in the news. Like where I'm from, people weren't riding around in the Walmart parking lot drinking wine out of a... Well, we have video of this?
This was such a fun day.
How did you guys pull this up so quickly? Oh, wow. The magic of our producers who can pull up the Houston Life YouTube page.
I was having way too much fun.
No wonder our coworkers
I was beeping my horn. It was so much fun.
This was a really good time, toasting KHAMBREL and Craig and Elizabeth there in the newsroom.
It was a really blast.
But do you remember on the show, we were chatting about Merlot and Chablis, and we had viewers right in telling us that we were saying it incorrectly.
I know.
I know. We know. We were kidding.
We were joking. It was a good
time.
It was fun.
What are some more of these rules here?
Filling a wine glass to the very top. You know what? I don't find that offensive. If you want a double pour, I feel like that's up to you.
Well, especially the champagne flutes. I know that the experts say drink out of a full, just a regular wine glass so you can really stick your nose in there. But the champagne flute, it holds such a small amount of liquid. You really have to maximize.
Yes, and then you have to add in for the, you know, effervescence at the top. I'm drawing a blank on my words today, having a problem. But I don't mind that. I don't mind that. The other one is serving white wine with red meat.
Oh, come on.
Even the experts say there's no white with fish, red with meat.
You eat what you like, you drink what you like. Put them together and bam, it's party.
I know. Or putting an ice cube in the wine. People say that's gauche.
Yeah, but if you're desperate.
Then, yeah, if it hasn't been chilled, you need to put some wine in there. What about a good spritzer? That has ice in it.
Oh my gosh.
Love a spritzer.
So Lewis and I on Wednesday nights, Big Brother premiere, by the way. So for years, I know it's another network.
Lori loves that.
Watch it. But Lewis and I had never heard of a white wine spritzer, and we had this ritual where every Wednesday we would go to Lewis's house. He would make eggplant with tomato sauce, bake it in the oven. You know,
so like
great vegetarian. Well, sort of, but we didn't add Parmesan to it though. Sometimes a little vegan cheese. But we would make these white wine spritzers.
So good.
But some people cut their wine with lemonade or Coke.
What?
They add lemonade or Coke, as in Coca-Cola, I'm assuming, to water down the wine.
Coke? No, that's like, you're supposed to drink that with Crown, aren't you? Or
lemonade.
Jack? Lemonade and wine?
Has anyone ever done this before? Would you please let us know how it's done? What is the proportion?
What is happening?
Lemonade or Coca-Cola added to wine. Okay.
Okay.
Pretending to know sophisticated terms.
Listen, I've got a real problem
Describe
with
how a wine tastes. Sorry.
Number 8, drinking straight out of the bottle. They say that's a mistake.
Well, now you can drink right out of the can. Now you can.
Now you can.
Knowing sophisticated terms, it is funny. If you've ever been wine tasting, which I bet is a handful of our viewers, right? You always have these people who pretend to be tasting notes or smelling notes of a dark chocolate bar buried deep into the mountains of upstate New York.
Shoe leather.
It's like a briefcase that's been dropped in a parking lot. Next to a vineyard that also sells chocolate.
Remember,
no, they don't smell any of that.
No, there's nothing. Remember that movie? What was that movie called that really put the...
I almost said
with an S.
Passages, but that's
not
a rehab clinic in Malibu.
And one here, too.
Sideways.
And he was smelling, and he would hold his ear. Asparagus and oregano. I mean, it was like he was holding his ear and smell. I mean, it was the funniest thing. And you know, you've been around. You don't even have to go to any vineyard. You could just be somewhere, maybe at a wine tasting or a wine bar here, and there's going to be somebody there doing it.
Yeah, stuffy is stuffy, and stuffy is not good. Hey, listen, What's Your Problem Wednesday, so this was a perfectly appropriate topic, but I have a letter I want to read.
This is good, though.
And I'm just going to read a couple lines. This is from Chase, who wrote to us from the Harris County Jail, and he said, I'm writing to you all from the Harris County Jail to let you know how much of a difference the two of you make. I watch you all every day, and you make me laugh and smile. Texts, passing gas on the table, the bear on Courtney's trip, the hate letters from all those Karens. He could go on and on. So essentially, he just talks about how the county jail can be a little bit of a trying environment, a bunch of hate, negativity, uncertainty, fear, but Chase feels like when he watches us, he's able to carry a better attitude, an optimistic approach, a little bit of a skip in his step. And, you know, he hopes that it passes that energy to the inmates around him. So a smile and some hope go a long way in here. That's just a little bit of the letter. Chase, you made our day by sending us this letter. Thank you so much. We are there with you. And you know, they say that being positive doesn't mean you're happy just all the time, right? It means that even on the hard days, you know that those hard days are just temporary and there are better times ahead. So we're sending you a big virtual hug, and you're in our thoughts.
You are definitely in our thoughts, and I want to say thank you for sending that, because, and I've had so many really great messages too on Facebook, and I think it's great that people take the time to write a message or do something on social media, but y'all, this is pen to paper. And it's signed, there's a return address. Remember the lady that, you know, wanted to give us some feedback and not do that. So I think it's fantastic that you're able to send us this wonderfully positive note. It lifted us up totally, and I know we shared it with the staff, and I will tell you, I heard something the other day that says when you're on a walk or you're walking somewhere in your house or something like that, and we have a tendency to look down. Well, don't look down, because there's nothing there for us. Look ahead, because that's where we're going.
That's so lovely. Very nice. Keep your eyes up ahead.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the prize. Well, Chase, thank you very much for your letter on this Wednesday. You have very nice penmanship as well.
You really do.
You can teach a class on penmanship. All right, so let's chat about today's show. Still ahead, see how you can sneak in fruits and veggies to feed your kids. 5 easy and healthy back-to-school recipes you can make ahead of time.
But first, of course, it's Wine Club Wednesday. Have you gotten in on the canned wine trend yet? We're going to explore this booming industry and, of course, taste a few when we come back.
Well, welcome back on this Wine Club Wednesday. Who says a good glass of wine has to come from a bottle? We are fans of canned wines like these, and it turns out it is a trend, Courtney, that's not going anywhere.
You are absolutely right. In fact, more and more labels are getting in on the canned wine business. For the producer, the cans are lighter and easily recyclable and less weight, which means lower shipping costs.
Oh, yeah.
And for the consumer, it's affordable, convenient, and satisfying.
It's definitely here to stay. Canned wine is the fastest growing form of alternative wine packaging on the market right now. And that's the category that includes box wines and Tetra Paks, those little containers you might see juice or coconut water in at the supermarket.
Augustus Weed knows a thing or two about wine. He's the tasting coordinator for Wine Spectator and says canned wine is a tasty, booming trend.
According to Nielsen, retail sales of canned wines have gone from 2 million in 2012 to 129 million in by April of this year. So it's definitely
so crazy. Yeah, it's definitely here to stay. And why do you think that this has caught on?
I think there's a lot of factors that have contributed to its growth. Certainly the portability and the portion size of canned wines, I think really appeals to wine drinkers on the go, especially. You know, they're light, they're durable. You can throw them into a bag, you can throw them into a cooler and take them to the beach, to the park. You can take them on a boat. In fact, I've taken them on camping trips, and it's kind of an ideal format for that outdoor experience where you want a little bit of wine.
I have found some really good canned wine. Like, I have been surprised at what I'm tasting.
And it's certainly true in our blind tastings at Wine Spectator. You know, when I started reporting on canned wine in 2016, canned wine quality could be kind of hit or miss, but that's really all changed. In recent blind tastings, editors at Wine Spectator have found some really good high quality wines coming in cans. In fact, we've tasted more than a dozen canned wines that have scored 85 to 89 points, which is very good on Wine Spectator's 100-point scale. I think a lot of producers are kind of learning about the best styles and best varieties that can go into a can, and so you've certainly seen an increase in the quality overall. Larkin Wines was one of the producers that we've seen really producing high-quality wines in a can. Sean Larkin, the winemaker, uses grapes from the Napa Valley. Another producer we've been seeing is Sans Wine Company, and that's Jake Stover and Gina Schober, who launched that brand in 2015, and they're making a wide variety of single vineyard, and vintage-specific wines.
We reached out to HEB to see how canned wines stack up in their stores. Canned wine annual sales at HEB grew over 300% from 2017 to today. Last year, they doubled shelf space for its canned wine category to carry more inventory. Sparkling is the most popular, making up 60% of sales in 2019 for HEB. And the Sophia Blanc de Blanc Sparkling is the most popular for the grocery store. Do you find that maybe the rosés or the whites in a can is better than a red or even a bubbles, or are they all kind of good?
That's a great question. In our earlier tastings, we were finding really white wines and rosé quality that, those wines typically perform the best. But we've really seen an increase in red wine quality recently. You can now find Pinot Noir from the Russian River, from Anderson Valley, also other grapes like Carignan, which are doing really well in cans. But on a warm day, when I really want something nice and refreshing, I typically go for the white wines or the rosés. That's kind of my warm weather sipper.
Super interesting, right? I mean, the sales are booming. By the way, what?
There's an Ava Grace on the screen, which is one of my favorite inexpensive rosés I get at Costco. It's like $6.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, and it's in the can. So these that you're seeing here on our set are some of HEB's most popular when it comes to wine in a can. This Porch Pounder, which they have everything from Chardonnay, a red wine, which you had at the top of the show, a rosé, and then also a Brut rosé, so a sparkling. What do you think?
They're all fantastic. I mean, sparkling is what I sort of gravitate toward. And also, it's just kind of nice and festive to, like, pop a can of bubbles.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is super fun. And then this West and Wilder rosé, which is actually Pinot Noir, Carignan, which you heard Augustus talk about. Zinfandel, it's dry, it's refreshing, it's bright. I mean, there's so many great varieties now. And you think about the cost comparison, if you're camping or you're going somewhere down to the beach or your beach house or something, this is so easy. You can stick it in the cooler. Exactly.
Well, also, it's interesting that as the popularity has been increasing, it used to be you'd go to the grocery store and you would see the little boxes of Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
And now there's an entire section for it. That continues growing.
And you heard the stats from HEB. I mean, they know that this is a booming trend, not going anywhere. They've actually increased their inventory and their space in their stores to have this wide variety. And by the way, we do want to mention, because Augustus, thank you so much for joining us today from Wine Spectator. His latest article is online. We've linked it for you. And this is talking about, where sales are today and what also they've seen during COVID-19 with sales. So it's very interesting. And then he has his top picks in there as well.
Let me guess, during COVID, it's exploded even more.
I don't know. You have to read it and see.
Trying to gain my COVID weight.
I know, it's so good. Okay, we are going to continue the wine in a can conversation. We're doing our virtual wine tasting of a six-pack. That's coming up next. Not the six-pack in the gym, but this six-pack.
Oh, my six-pack is gone.
I never had one. Okay, y'all, it's time to toss out the corkscrew. Just grab a can. We are done underestimating canned wines, and today we're making you believers as well.
That is so well said. We are done underestimating the power of the can. H-Town Restaurant Group sommelier and beverage director Sean Beck is helping us do just that with today's virtual wine tasting. Sean, welcome back to Houston Life. It is great to see you, buddy. And first of all, I feel like the can makes total sense because it blocks out sunlight, right? I mean, isn't there some element of preservation, Sean, that we're getting in a can that we don't get out of a glass bottle?
It does, although I don't think anyone is aging their cans that long for that really to make the big difference. I think it's accessibility and ease of transportation and lower costs that are really the big deals here.
And I do think, too, the producers are really figuring out how to produce a better wine in the can. And as a sommelier, Sean, are you seeing that as well?
Yeah, I also think the first people that got into it were kind of like, people like, oh, this is my side project. I want to do this. Here it is. Enjoy it. And so they didn't really come from a wine background. And then you actually started seeing well-established wineries, as you'll see in the flight that we've put together here, get involved. So they're taking true classic winemaking know-how and adjusting it to fit the packaging.
And Sean, before we jump into the specifics of this flight, let's chat about the 6-pack. So a 6-pack of wine in a can is essentially the equivalent of what, 2.5 bottles?
Yeah, the one I put together for you and your viewers is a 2.5 bottle package of canned wine.
Okay.
All right, well, let's get started. We are starting with Spellbound, and this is a Petite SIRAH.
Yeah, so big boy, and Spellbound's actually a well-established winery from Northern California. So they've already made great wine for a lot of years. And so now they're kind of translating to package. I think red wine is harder to do well in a can.
Right.
The reason this wine works so well is it's made with Petite SIRAH, which is this incredibly rich, juicy, dark red grape that takes a light chill well and will show well in the can.
Okay, Courtney's taking a sip right now.
Yes.
Courtney, we want your take on it.
Oh. I normally, Sean, do not buy a red wine in a can. I always either go to a rosé or bubbles. This is very nice.
Yeah, and it makes sense when you think about cans are for like hiking and camping and outdoor. Well, if you're grilling at a barbecue and you have someone that wants something a little heavier, this is the wine that's going to crush it.
And this is a heavier, let's move on to something a bit lighter. It's called a Bonterra Young Red, described as a bright and refreshingly light red.
Yep.
Slightly chilled?
So Bonterra is actually the old Fetzer family, who's pretty iconic in wine.
Yeah.
This is like a collection of the family, and they're more or less like really farmer-driven hippies that have always been looking for ways to be as sustainable and sulfite-free and pesticide-free as possible. And so they went from doing their like bottled wines to canned wines. And when you farm things that way, in that minimalist way, it's actually better for the can because the preservatives, less oxygen gets in there, it's more stable, and they make this really kind of nice, fun, playful Malbec blend.
Sean, I got to tell you, one thing that I just realized you miss out on, one of your senses, is the visual of the color of the wine. So taking the first sip out of this can, I would have assumed this is a rosé, not a red.
Really?
It tastes like a rosé.
Interesting.
Well, you know, that line between red and rosé gets blurrier and blurrier by the day. But yeah, it's designed to be kind of a light, playful red.
I love it. Especially in my world, Sean, things get blurry.
A light, playful red.
Okay, I'm going to crack open this next one, which is West and Wilder. We just saw this brand as HEB, one of their top selling in their stores. So this is an American sparkling. Talk us through the tasting notes here.
So what's really cool about this one is this was kind of started as a lifestyle brand, beautiful packaging, but they're actually working with a legit winery. They're working with the Rhyme Winery, which is a husband and wife, and they're growing and finding some really quality grapes. And why it's so effective is, and I think sparkling does better in can than anything else, they're doing a mix of grapes from around California. They're doing Albarino, they're doing Chenin Blanc, a little bit of Sauvignon Blanc in there. And so they got these really bright, aromatic white wines, which are perfect for a can. And they kind of carbonate it like you would a Prosecco, and you end up with a really good sparkling wine experience.
Oh, my mouth was open. This is so good.
At first sip, your jaw dropped. Why?
Yes, it's light. And when you hit it on the head, I don't have the tasting notes, but when you said it's bubbly like a Prosecco, best friend Lori, you're going to love this one. It's just light. It's refreshing. It's amazing. Really.
I love the navy blue can as well. Yeah, Sean.
And it would make a great spritz, and there's nothing wrong with having a wine spritz there.
I'm with you.
There are no rules in this house. I'm a cool mom, not a regular mom. Okay, let's move on to this, is it called Nomikai? California Fizzy? Nomakai.
Yeah, it was
okay.
started by a group that liked this Japanese lifestyle, these casual, low-key parties. They're working with several pretty good farmers in California to do a more approachable style. And this is a rosé sparkling wine. And it's essentially 187, which is a glass of wine. And it's the most approachable in price and style. And I would definitely want to pour it out of the can, though, into a glass, because I think the color on this is lovely. But it's just fun.
I don't mind drinking it straight out of the can. Also playful, fun, and reigning in sweetness, just like your personality, Courtney.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's a perfect summer rosé for you.
Can I just say, Sean, one of your tasting notes on here for the Nomakai says, the only downside is how fast this wine drinks.
Yeah,
I love
you pound this wine.
That's a pool pounder?
It is a smaller can. It makes me feel like I have very large hands.
Okay, moving on to the Gotham Project Rosé. This is something out of Spain. Why do you love this one?
So Gotham is one of the first ones to get involved in canned wine. They were doing it for a wine bar in New York, and so they set out with an idea, canned is going to be what we're doing, and we're going to do it the best possible. And then they found grapes that match their style. And Spain makes amazing rosé. It's super real accessible in price. You get a little bit of a bigger rosé here, which if I'm drinking a canned wine, I want a little more flavor. And I'm literally getting old and new. I'm getting 40 to 80-year-old grapevines in a canned packaging. So it's like a mix of styles and philosophies.
This is lovely.
Is it?
It's so nice. I mean, you had me at canned wine, but I just have to tell, this is so good. This is so good. But it's, you know what? It's a dry rosé, which I'm a fan of. I don't like the sweet rosé. This is like, if you would have poured this in a glass, I would have thought this is a $40 bottle of rosé.
Oh.
Yeah, and Monastrell gives you all that texture and weight without a lot of expense. So it's a great grape, and it grows on the east side of Spain.
Okay, very nice. It's so interesting reading these labels, too, hearing a little bit about their story. Okay, so we just mentioned not so sweet. Now we're going to what I guess could be a little sweeter with the Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, Pinot Grigio tricks you, but this, by the way, this is maybe the best buy in Oregon. This wine is made by the Stoller family, which has an amazing winery, has stunning vineyards, is one of the longest standing sustainable farmers. And they created this specifically to have a more entry level, to show people more approachable style of wine. So literally that philosophy of like really amazing winemakers trying to make really approachable wine. So you're just getting the highest quality juice possible. And Oregon Pinot Gris is very electric light acidity. It's bright. It's a lot of apple and orchard fruit, and it's a bigger can, right? This is a half bottle in a can.
Wow, Sean, I'm surprised because you know me, a Pinot Grigio usually freaks me out because I'm afraid it's going to just be apple juice.
Yeah.
It does have a light, not too sweet flavor. So thanks for challenging.
Yeah, Oregon makes the best Pinot Gris.
And I love the fact that the cans are all different sizes. You know, it kind of goes with the variety. Sean, thank you so much for not, you know, crinching your nose when we asked you to do this canned wine segment for us. And I love that you totally got into it. But this 6-pack is available at Backstreet Cafe for our viewers. Walk us through what they're getting.
So they're going to get all 6 of these wines. If you're an Houston Life viewer, you get $10 off, so you get them for $35. You're getting about 2.5 bottles of wine. We'll have it packed in a nice little kit for you, and you can pick it up curbside or get it with takeout with your food. And we make it super easy for you, and they're all delicious.
Okay, the equivalent of 2.5 bottles, $35. That's a great deal. Sean, thanks so much for your expertise, and thanks for the little lunchtime snack.
Anytime.
Great to see you, my
Cheers,
friend.
buddy.
Yeah, cheers. Sean, thank you. Don't forget, use that promo code HL10 at checkout to receive the discount. The link is under the Wine Club article on our website. Cheers.
I feel like we should have a party.
We are.
We'll be right back. That's a good point. We are.
We got to get the weather story. Meteorologist KHAMBREL Marshall is standing by. You know, it is my birthday week, so
yes.
I'm gonna write you a check for the good weather.
Happy humidity to you, Courtney. Hope you enjoy it. It's going to be great. Look out at Galveston right now, 91 degrees, south winds at 11 miles per hour. Yeah, that didn't help with the humidity, does it? Look outside here down the Southwest Freeway. Sugar Land temperature, 92, southwest wind. When we get that southwest wind, that kind of heats things up a bit. So 92 is going to heat up a lot more before it's all said and done. Miller Outdoor, boy, it looks very nice. The McGovern Centennial Gardens, 92 there at Hobby Airport. South winds at 11 miles an hour. Throughout the area, everybody in the 90s. And the feels like temperature is even warmer than that. 94 to 103 is what it feels like. There's that humidity feel for you, huh? And the winds, not much of a help from the south. Notice up to the top there, that's where the wind's coming from the north. See, that's part of the sea breeze. That's going to kick off some showers later on this afternoon. Right now, nothing. But up to the north and east, we've got these showers and storms that are sliding around the high pressure, and that's going to give us a slight chance of some storms later on this afternoon. Heaviest off to our east, but we're still going to have some of that. Like yesterday, when it hits you, it's really heavy. Hour by hour in the woodlands, look at that, 20 to 25, 40% chance of rain, mid-90s. Happy humidity, Courtney.
Yeah, August in Houston, right? Cam, thank you.
That's why I've got the pony working today. Okay, after the break, don't let the new school year routine stress you out. Okay, I'm trying to believe that. We're sharing easy and healthy back-to-school recipes you can make ahead for your kids. Okay, I'm going to put this in air quotes. With back to school just around the corner, it's time to start thinking about what you're going to feed your kids when they study at home, because it's still a thing. We have to stay in a routine.
Yeah, even if they're just going to the kitchen to eat.
Yes.
That's the same as the cafeteria at school. All right, so here to take the stress off your weekdays, registered dietitian Mia Sin shares healthy and tasty make-ahead lunches and snacks that are pretty easy to prepare.
Hey, Derrick and Courtney. Now, back to school may look a little different this year, but no matter what the circumstance, we always need healthy and delicious meals and snacks. So today I have some easy options, and we're going to start with snack boxes that are both kid and adult friendly. First, we have elevated cheese and crackers. Start with your produce. I'm adding grapes, cucumber coins, and cherry tomatoes. Then add your cheese and crackers, and these tangy ranch and nacho flavored cheddar cheese crisps check both of those boxes. They're by Wisp, made with 100% cheddar cheese and a blend of savory spices with 10 grams of protein and 3 grams of net carbs per serving. Plus, they're an excellent source of calcium, so you can feel good about giving them to your kiddos. So our next snack box is rainbow stuffed veggies. First, I'm adding sliced mini bell peppers and celery. Next, assemble your hummus sampler. I'm using Lantana Hummus, which is an Austin-based alternative bean hummus company whose motto is keeping hummus weird. These come in assorted, fun, and festive flavors from mild to spicy. I'm using the edamame, black bean, yellow lentil, and garlic. You can't miss them at Walmart from their distinctive striped lids. Now, our final snack box can help satisfy both sweet and salty cravings. Start with your fruit. I'm adding strawberries and banana, then add your pretzels. I'm using the FitJoy grain-free pretzels and peanut butter pretzel nuggets. These are made with organic cassava flour and are great for those following a gluten-free or anti-inflammatory diet. Next up, we have meals in a jar. Now, these are great if you're on the go, but also if you're at home short on time because you can make them in advance. First, transfer your cooked pasta and chopped fresh produce to a large mixing bowl. We have red onion, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, and broccoli. For the protein source, I simply swapped out beef meatballs for the Pure Farmland home-style plant-based meatballs. Now, many of us are looking to add more variety to our meals at home, and the Pure Farmland plant-based products make it really easy, from the breakfast sausage to the protein starters and burger patties. These products are also non-GMO, made with complete soy protein, and are gluten and dairy-free. You can find the Pure Farmland products at Kroger and Super Target stores, and some great recipe inspiration at purefarmland.com. So next, whisk together your dressing ingredients. I'm adding balsamic vinegar, basil, salt, and pepper, and cacao, which is a blend of extra virgin coconut and avocado oil, so it has a naturally sweet taste. You can find it at Walmart. It's a lower saturated fat alternative to coconut oil, but you still get the potential benefits of lauric acid, which research suggests may have antiviral properties and support immune health. Pour over your salad, give it a toss, and transfer to your jars. Finally, we have fruit parfaits in a jar. Now, these make great breakfast or snack options. Add low-fat yogurt or cottage cheese to your jars, then add fresh berries. Next, chop up your Kind Healthy Grains bars. I'm using the double dark chocolate, cinnamon oat, and maple pumpkin seeds, which each contain only 5 grams of sugar and 140 to 150 calories. These are going to add a chewy, crunchy texture and provide 1 full serving of whole grains from oats, millet, buckwheat, amaranth, and quinoa. And I like the Kind products because each leads with a nutrient-dense first ingredient like whole nuts, whole grains, and fruit. Now, I hope you found these recipes and tips helpful. Back to you guys.
Mia, thank you so much. That pasta dish looked so good.
Delicious.
Mia has, by the way, shared the complete recipes on our website, HoustonLife.tv.
And coming up next, where you can find direct access to physical therapy to not only improve your mobility, but to save you time and money by avoiding unnecessary doctor visits. We have details after the break.
Welcome back. Whether it's a pain in your neck after sitting at a computer all day long, or maybe you tweaked your knee while outside gardening or exercising, our next guest has a solution.
Board-certified physical therapist with Memorial Hermann Ironman Sports Medicine Institute, Nikki Shelton, is joining us now. Nikki, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you seeing you here on the show. Let's talk about direct access. What does that mean as far as if somebody's feeling like they need to get into a physical therapist?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. So in short, direct access is a law that allows for people in the community to seek out a physical therapist and see a physical therapist without the need for a physician referral, much like you would if you were looking for a massage therapist or a chiropractor. In the state of Texas, we have adopted sort of a limited access model in which we can see patients for about 10 or 15 days, depending on the expertise level of your therapist. And in that time, a few things would happen. We could get you better and get you on the way to recovery. Or we may decide that you have a chronic issue and maybe you need visits after that 10 or 15 days. And in that case, we would assist you in finding a physician to help you get another referral to continue physical therapy. And then if we decide that you are not necessarily appropriate for physical therapy based on the condition that you have, then we will assist you in triaging you to the appropriate provider.
And Nikki, this is a big deal because it seems like barriers to care, it only causes stress, headache, right? I mean, for people, whether they are experiencing, as you mentioned, chronic issues or maybe a recent injury, isn't it true that the more quickly you have access to physical therapy, the less severe your injury ends up being?
Absolutely. Research has shown that the earlier you seek physical therapy following an injury, the quicker your outcomes are and at less cost to the patient. So direct access can basically streamline your care and allow you to decrease the need for unnecessary imaging, unnecessary office visits, and unnecessary medications, particularly opioids. We know that we have an opioid crisis in America, and so it's really great to be able to access physical therapy because they've found that individuals who seek physical therapy and receive that actually have a significantly decreased likelihood to utilize opioids. And so a lot of times this is just a quick, streamlined way for you to get back to your functional capacity and be able to improve from your injuries.
Nikki, you know what I think is also really important here? We mentioned at the top of the show, whether you have neck pain or back pain or something that's kind of come on, I feel like a lot of times we will dismiss it. Oh, I'm working from home. I'm not in my regular chair, and think maybe it's a temporary issue. These are things that are okay to seek physical therapy for.
Absolutely. They're actually extremely appropriate. And those are the type of conditions that we can get better really quickly. And so if you're just sitting at your computer and you notice that you're starting to get neck pain and it's becoming something that you're feeling regularly, or if you started taking up exercising or something of that nature and you have some knee pain, that stuff is all things that we would see today and get you on a program to recovery. Also, our therapists at Memorial Hermann can help you if you have vestibular issues and maybe you wake up with some dizziness or some balance deficits or something of that nature. They can assist you right away and oftentimes in just a few visits. And so a lot of times it's not just athletes or not just people who have had surgery. It's from the most aggressive injuries to the most minor of injuries. We can definitely make a big difference in your care.
Well,
also, if you're
go ahead, Nikki.
Sorry.
No,
also,
go ahead.
I was just going to mention, for individuals who aren't seeking physical therapy because they're worried about COVID or risk of transmission, I would encourage you just to ask if you would qualify for a telehealth visit. And if so, then we would love to treat you from the comforts of your home.
Well, even during COVID, I feel like everyone is always strapped for time. And
Right.
the last thing you want to do is have to go schedule one doctor's appointment just to get a referral to go and see the therapist you really need. So, okay, we're cutting to the chase, going straight to physical therapy. What should we expect, Nikki, from our very first visit?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll meet with a physical therapist, and during that time, they will do a comprehensive evaluation on you and get a good idea of whether or not you're appropriate for physical therapy. And if they deem that you are appropriate for physical therapy, then they will set you up on a personalized plan that is catered toward your injury that you can utilize to help improve your deficits both at home and then also in the following visits with your therapist. during that time, if they decide that you are not appropriate for physical therapy, they will help triage you to the appropriate provider at that time.
And if we're speaking to somebody today, how can they go ahead and get that scheduled?
Absolutely. So you can schedule on our website at memorialhermann.org/therapy, or you can call 833-4MY-MHPT. We would love to get you scheduled.
All right, Nikki Shelton, this is good news for a lot of people who are maybe dealing with chronic pain. Thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
And if you would like more information, you can visit memorialhermann.org/therapy, or you can call 832-469-6478.
We'll be right back. Coming up on tomorrow's show, we have a local country singer competing on America's Got Talent, AGT, his journey to find himself and how to lead him to singing on the AGT stage.
That is so exciting. We always love shining a spotlight on
I know.
our local
He is
talent.
Incredible, though.
Yeah,
his voice is amazing.
We're new Instagram friends.
Cameron
Looking
Ross.
forward to spending some time with him. Also, travel through takeout Colombia style.
Woo.
Paul and Olivia are hitting the road once again on their taste bud trip to Colombia this time around. Authentic dishes from one of Paul's favorite restaurants. It's Mi Pueblito. And oh my goodness, it is 1:57 p.m. and I have not had lunch yet. I'm starving. That looks delicious.
Your lunch is in front of you.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. A special thank you to our friends over at Backstreet Cafe and H-Town Restaurant Group.
Thank you, Sean Beck.
Yes, the six-pack that we talked about today on the show, it's normally $45. Use the HL10 code to get it for $35, available at Backstreet Cafe. And again, that great article from Wine Spectator magazine is up on our website, too, to take you through the entire gamut of canned wine. So pretty incredible.
Yeah, and if you're saying, oh my gosh, we only get 6 cans of wine in our six-pack, remember, it's the equivalent of 2.5 bottles of wine.
That's a party, people.
So that's enough for one person.
Enough for you.
Or 2 people.
Cheers.
It's like enough for 6 people.
It is.
So get it.
Unless you're there.
See you tomorrow.